Joining us now for more on this is John Allen, former Canadian ambassador to Israel and Spain. Thank you so much, John, for taking the time today. I want to first begin with those who are able to leave. We've heard of one person who was able to leave, who has family in Canada. That individual is not Canadian, though, but there are hundreds of others, Canadians, who are stuck in Gaza, who are still waiting. What do you think is holding up that process?
I think the numbers is holding it up, and the negotiators that have made this happen have prioritized the internationals went out yesterday, the wounded went out, and I think it's just taking time. They're not letting thousands leave or more, so it seems to be 400 or 500 a day. And we're all hopeful that the Canadians that are registered will be getting out over the next few days.
So you believe this is a matter of numbers. Do you think that there's more diplomatically that Canada could be doing?
I'm sure that the minister and perhaps the prime minister are on the phone talking to the Qataris. They're talking to the Americans. They're talking to the Israelis and the Egyptians, of course, who control that border. And I'm sure that they know that we have Canadians there and that they're waiting to get out. You can imagine there are 27 European countries and the Brits and many other countries that have dual nationals in Gaza, and they're all trying to get out right now, and only a limited number are coming out each day.
I want to ask you about the situation in Gaza. There is growing concern. Diplomatic efforts are ramping up from the U.S. and Arab countries for a humanitarian pause because the situation is being described as so dire. I want to ask, we are seeing live shots over Gaza at the moment for our viewers at home. I want to ask about those efforts and whether or not you believe a humanitarian pause at this point will happen.
Yes, I believe it will happen. Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State from the U.S., is heading to Israel now, as we know. I'm sure that is his message. The president indicated that that's what he wanted and thought should happen. Prime Minister of Canada, of course, Justin Trudeau, has said the same thing. The world is united in asking for humanitarian pauses to get food, medicine, hopefully fuel in, and to allow those dual nationals out, and hopefully the hostages out if those negotiations are proceeding as we hope they are.
Israeli airstrikes have struck Gaza's largest refugee camp twice now, and the UN Human Rights Office is now saying that, it said this on X, the platform X, that it has serious concerns, this is a quote, that these are disproportionate attacks that could amount to war crimes. We know that there are reports that the death toll in Gaza is as high as 9,000. Reportedly, more than 3,700 children are included in that death toll. What are your thoughts on what we're hearing from the UN on this?
Well, this is a question of proportionality. It is a incredibly difficult question. There's no doubt that those number of deaths, whether it's innocent women or older people or men or children, as you said, is dire. It is a humanitarian crisis, and I am simply hopeful that that this, first of all, can end as quickly. Obviously, not just a humanitarian pause, but an end. Secondly, that the Israelis are more strategic in pinpointing their targets, and it is just a horrible situation where both sides are between a rock and a hard place. The Palestinians are suffering, innocent people suffering terribly, and Hamas, unfortunately, using these people as shields, as they have done in the past, 5 times in the past, and they're doing it again. And they are forcing the Israelis, if they want to get at the leaders and the military leaders. They're forcing them to use tactics that the world sees as completely unacceptable. It's a tragedy, and it should end as soon as possible.
Do you think that we could see repercussions from this?
Well, repercussions. There are repercussions already. The Bahrainis have sent their ambassador home. The Jordanians have. Um, there are repercussions around the world in terms of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism growing. So there's plenty of repercussions already, and what my hope is, and frankly, the only small glimmer of light in all of this is that the Americans, important Israelis, and others are finally once again being talking about a two-state solution, which is the ultimate solution for this problem, so that we can end this horrible crisis and crises in the future.
John Allen, former Canadian ambassador to Israel and Spain, joining us on this. Thank you so much for your time today, John.
Thank you, Lois.